Mohit Mehta. You can begin.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chair Aaron Kinsey and esteemed board members of the State Board of Education. My name is Mohit Mehta, and I'm the Assistant Director for the Center for Asian American Studies at the University of Texas. I'm also a former classroom teacher of 7 years in Austin ISD, and I'm currently completing a PhD in Curriculum and Instruction, and I live in District 5. I'm submitting public testimony today to request the State Board of Education consider American Indian Native Studies for full adoption as a Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills-based ethnic studies course. As the board knows, this course has been developed with content and pedagogical experts since 2020, piloted in a school district for 3 years, and has been approved by the Texas Education Agency for innovative course status. As we know, the social studies standards have not been revised since 2008, and our state needs to keep up with the educational advances across the nation, including offering social studies elective courses that prepare students for university-level study, research, and scholarship. As an instructor of college-level courses in ethnic studies, we often see how students have large gaps in their knowledge and skills when it comes to the understanding of the legal, social, political, cultural history of different groups, including Native Americans. The State Board of Education previously approved 2 ethnic studies courses, Mexican American and African American Studies, both courses that are being offered throughout the state in districts with robust professional development and support for teachers. Having access to ethnic studies courses improves students' sense of well-being, college readiness skills, high school graduation rates, and critical thinking and historical analysis. Thank you so much.
Lynette Aguero. Kenneth Romer.
I'm Dr. Ken Romer, Emeritus UT System Academy of Distinguished Teachers. I've taught Native literature since 1972. In November, my focus was on non-Native students. Today, I focus on 2 examples of the impact of Native literature on Native students. The texts relate to the culture, geography, and history standards I hope we will discuss in April. She never spoke until I mentioned a river in Leslie Silko's Ceremony, a novel on World War II veterans. When my sister and I played there, suddenly the silent girl in the second row was the teacher. Her new role gave her confidence to speak the rest of the whole semester. I marvel at the transformations when reservation students discover their life experiences are valuable to students and teachers far removed from their homes. Most Native students are not from reservations, have mixed heritages, and lack knowledge of their cultures. Another student fit that profile. She knew her African American side, but not her Native side. In her early teens, her grandmother held the young girl's face in her hands. From now on, you are Black. The grandmother didn't want her to face the challenges of being mixed, so the girl lived as Black. Now she was ready for the challenges. And The Way to Any Mountain, a cultural family history by Pulitzer Prize winner N. Scott Momaday, showed her the way. Her rewards was enhanced self-knowledge and new writing skills. Using Rainy Mountain has been successfully taught in many high schools and colleges. NCTE even has a website promoting it for Native and non-Native students. These examples go way beyond seeing people like me. They show that Native students reading Native literatures improves academic performance and enhances lives. Thank you.
Eliza Epstein. Carol Anderson. Valerie Martinez. Stephen Silva Brave. Carl Kurtz. Carol Anderson.
Chokma Sahoshapoet Annette Anderson. I serve on the Council of the Indigenous Institute of the Americas. I am one of the 70 original Native intertribal community leaders who met in Grand Prairie 4 years ago to create the American Indian Native Studies course. I contributed to the core content team, which volunteered hundreds of hours, meeting monthly, weekly, and sometimes daily to rewrite the course based on the feedback and support we received from the amazing TEA staff and this honorable board. Please imagine our elders' excitement when we came home in November 2023 with the news that this board had recommended our course move to first reading. Then imagine the confusion and sadness when we discovered the course was not on the agenda. Many of us hoped and prayed it was an accident. AIM's course is only an elective course. It is only written for 10th to 12th graders. Children can only take this course with parental approval. So how did our course become controversial? We need help understanding. We listened carefully to the guidance of TEA and this board. We reviewed our course over and over to be sure it did not violate the spirit of SB 3. We want all children to learn accurate information about our culture, but we totally respect parents' rights to decide what elective courses their children choose. But the testimony I've heard from the public at these hearings the last 2 years has only reinforced that our children raised in Texas public schools become adults who really don't know much about Native culture and the land that their schools are built on. 60% of the world's food supply depends on foods cultivated by the Native people on this continent. When you have dinner, I promise there will be at least one item: corn, beans, squash, tomatoes, or potatoes, produced from thousands of years of indigenous scientific knowledge. I want my children to learn this. Please send this course to first reading in April and let democracy progress the course. Thank you.
Valerie Martinez. Stephen Silva Brave.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Silva Brave. I'm a social worker, a chemical dependency counselor, and some would say a leader in my community in Dallas. But most importantly, I'm a parent and an uncle of Lakota students who attend Texas public schools. I'm grateful that my kids and nephews in Grand Prairie ISD have the opportunity to take the American Indian Native Studies course. But I look forward to the day that all other relatives, friends, and community members throughout Texas get to say the same thing. I'm a citizen of the Shinshagu Lakota Nation, also known as the Rosebud Sioux Tribe of South Dakota. But I've lived my entire life in Texas, and I'm a product of Texas public schools, specifically of the Dallas Independent School District. Shout out. This means that the way I was taught in school about American Indian history is the same way that kids are still taught today. And I'm not necessarily talking about anything negative. It's just that we're mentioned so few times and we sort of pop up sporadically at different times, every couple hundred years or so. We're here in 1492. We're here again at the first Thanksgiving in 1621. Then sometimes we show up in the late 1800s if students have the opportunity to learn about the Trail of Tears or the Dawes Act. And even more rarely we'll show up when they talk about the Civil Rights era. Students in Texas literally see us show up a handful of times, but the fact is that we were here thousands of years before 1492. We're still here today, and we've been here at all points in between. So understandably, social studies courses can only talk about a few of these historical points, but the beauty of a year-long course is that they would get the opportunity to learn about all of those in-betweens, and most importantly, what we're still contributing to culture and science and the arts and things like that today. And we just ask that you all just go to the first reading in April. That's our simple ask of you. So thank you. Ow.
Carl Kurtz.
Bojo, Desnicasa Carl Kurtz. My name is Sergeant Carl Kurtz. I'm a combat veteran of the United States Marine Corps. TCU alum, geologist, father of a Texas high school student. By the way, she needs an excuse. And family to the Potawatomi Nation. The history of our continent is a foundation of Native experience. Our current government, the primary principle of that government is due process. It is established by the rule of law that Native tribes followed well before colonists arrived. If that due process is found in the courts, in the procedures, in the votes in which placed all of you in your seats here today, it was based on that 1,000-year experience that acknowledging and exploring the people who are here prior to our government's establishment that contributed to the Constitution, the value of charity, self-governance, language, culture, all of which has been used to defend this nation. I stand before you as a U.S. Marine in uniform, representing all Native veterans who have ever served, many of which are the first Medal of Honor recipients, both of which served during World War I and World War II as code talkers, using our language to defend this home, your ancestors, your parents, who have carried on the legacy of being an officer in the Air Force, a Ranger in the Army, Scout Sniper in the Marines, or a sailor on the high seas. It represents the saga of who we are, some of the first, but not the last. But our history is overlooked in history class, not because of some political agenda. There's just simply not enough time. Our legacy and our saga is vast. Let it be heard. This is an elective course. Bring it forward. Let those kids that have been inspired to learn more follow that passion.
Sir, if you can conclude your thoughts, please.
I reserve it to one thing. Semper Fidelis. Remain always faithful. Faithful to the students. You have a very large demographic that have come through here today. We have almost every minority represented in Texas education except American Indians.
Thank you, sir.
Maggie Stern, Kelly Tudor, Marielle Cazada. Maggie Stern.
Are we going to stop between 4 to, nope.
We're not able to do
right.
questions
Okay.
since we're not posted
Yeah,
for this.
thank
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair and members. My name is Maggie Stern. I'm the Youth Engagement Manager at the Children's Defense Fund of Texas. I'm here in support of the American Indian Native Studies course and urge this board to move the course to first reading at your next meeting. CDF Texas is a nonpartisan youth advocacy organization with the mission to build community so that young people grow up with dignity, hope, and joy. Ethnic studies courses are a prime example of this mission in action, providing students with the factual and balanced information they need to understand our shared past, connect with their peers and communities in the present, and prepare to live and lead in our state in the future. Ethnic studies courses like the American Indian Native Studies course have demonstrable benefits for all students, including improved academic performance. And this course, as you've heard, has been developed over 3 years of community input, including parents, students, and educators from Texas's Native community, which means the course is specifically designed to meet the needs of Texas's students of all races and backgrounds. This includes American Indian and Native students who are foundational to Texas's history and an integral part of our shared present and future. It also includes students of all other identities who deserve this opportunity to build connections and a deeper, more accurate knowledge about the American Indian Native community. Students bring their full selves into the classroom every day, including their experiences in their communities and their curiosities about the world around them. Working directly with high school students, I hear their clear calls for curriculum like the American Indian Native Studies course. Our schools should be ready to meet our students with a full spectrum of courses that teach them honestly about the past and prepare them to be part of our great state in the future. We urge you to move the course to first reading without further delay, at which time the community and board members can publicly review the course and work together to meet the needs of our Texas students.
Kelly Tudor, Mariel Cazada,
Board members. As we greet in Coahuilteco, my name is Mariel Casada, and I serve as the Education Programs Director for the Indigenous Cultures Institute, ICI. I'm here to attest to why the American Indian Native Studies course is an incredible opportunity for all students, and especially important to my community and the population with whom I work. There are over 11 million Hispanic people in Texas, and ICI estimates that 10 million of those people have Indigenous ancestors. Moreover, we live among 3 federally recognized tribes, state legislature recognized tribes, and many other Indigenous peoples, totaling well over 10 million people. Like most students in Texas today, I didn't have an opportunity to learn about tribal sovereignty and the 574 federally recognized tribes until college. Taking Native Studies classes reignited my academic and community engagement and redirected my professional career, which has taken me to the White House, the United Nations, an international nonprofit, and my current role with ICI. Through ICI's education programs over the past 13 years, we've seen hundreds of youth, Native and non-Native, learn about Coahuiltecan and other Indigenous peoples' histories, intellectual traditions, governments, and cultures, and how this often new to them knowledge sparks interest in their local and national histories and futures, fosters greater school engagement, and inspires creativity. One of our youth, who has been participating in our program since she was 7, now serves as the writing instructor and has developed a creative writing unit on Native superheroes. Another young person has written and acted in theater productions that honor Native stories, while another is considering a college degree in Indigenous food science and culinary arts. Exposure to courses and programs based on Native American experiences offer new ways for our youth to build on core Texas standards. Such courses benefit all students, propelling new academic interests, skills, relationships, and potential careers. For these reasons, among others stated by my colleagues here today, we urge you to place the monumental course on the April 2024 SBOE agenda so that it can be heard for its first reading. Thank you.
Members, we have one late registrant. Is there any objection to hearing that testimony?
Leslie Rivas,
Hi everyone, my name is Leslie Rivas. I am presenting an organizational sign-on letter prepared for the Ethnic Studies for Texas Schools Coalition. First, I want to acknowledge that in November of 2023, 3 tribal nations and 4 Native organizations submitted letters that fully endorsed the American Indian Native Studies Innovative Course, as approved by the TEA in the summer of 2023. They were the Comanche Nation, the Lipan Apache Tribe of Texas, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, the Society for Native Nations, American Indians at the Spanish Colonial Missions, TCU's Native and Indigenous Student Association, and UNT's Native American Student Association. Today, I am presenting an organizational sign-on letter signed by 27 organizations throughout Texas. This letter summarizes empirical, data-based, peer-reviewed research by D. Penner and Gavrera and other scholars that have found that taking ethnic studies courses improves student grades and attendance, and that these benefits translate into STEM classes. They found this impact especially profound among students who were considered struggling or low performing. This letter also details the expansive growth of Mexican American studies and African American studies. In 2020 and in the 2020-2021 school year, 6,500 students registered in ethnic studies courses. In 2022 and 2023, close to 18,000 students enrolled in these courses. Through this letter, all 27 organizations call on the SBOE to move the American Indian Native Studies course to first reading in April, so that the review and adoption process can be completed in June of 2024. Continue to respect the course's fidelity to the field of American Indian Native Studies and the knowledge and history of American Indian Native communities. And 3, continue to engage in dialogue with the community that helped to develop the course standards as the course moves through review and discussion. We agree that the course should be reviewed, but for this to happen, the SBOE needs to present the course for first reading. Let's get the process started. What are we waiting for? Thank you all.
Okay, thank you to all the testifiers for coming down and talking to us. I know this is a topic of interest. We're not posted for it. Like I was telling Member Perez-Diaz, I've had numerous conversations offline about it, and I'd say that progress continues. There's definitely a standing item on the next agenda, TEACS coverage, where we could discuss it without breaking the Open Meetings Act. So that's about all I can say about that right now, but appreciate the testimony, and thank you for coming. Member Davis.
And I asked for information a while ago about how we can have this discussion. So are we saying that we are going to have intentional discussion about this at a later item, or should we go ahead and knock out some things now?
So under the Open Meetings Act, if there's an inquiry made at a meeting for something that you're not posted, and no notice is given to the public, you are limited to a couple of things. One, you can make a statement of specific factual information given in response to an inquiry, or a recitation of existing policy in response to the inquiry. Otherwise, any deliberation of or decision about the subject shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda for a subsequent meeting.
Member Davis, does that answer your question?
No. So like I said, are we going to specifically spend some time on it now, or is there another item later that you wanted to kind of deep dive? Because I did have some questions for staff, which will be allowable.
Since we're not posted for it, we can't talk about it, is what Vaughn is telling us.
So Vaughn, you were saying we can't discuss it at all? We can't ask staff questions?
Any deliberation about it has to be limited to placing the subject on the agenda of a subsequent meeting. So I think any ancillary questions that you have to that would have to be related to placing it on a subsequent meeting.
I do.
Do you have further questions for legal, Member Davis?
So I can't ask questions about it being placed on the next agenda? Correct.
Not at this time. Later in the agenda.
Is that correct? I can't ask questions about it being placed on the agenda?
Not at this time. Later in the agenda.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was asking Vaughn. I'm sorry. Because I thought that's what he just said.
So I think you've got two issues going on right now. One is the Open Meetings Act and what you are allowed to discuss absent a posted meeting. And at this time, the only thing that you're allowed to discuss is whether to place it on a subsequent agenda. I think your next question is more a parliamentary question about whether you're recognized at now to have that discussion. And so for that, I'll defer to the chair and the parliamentarian.
Member Davis, Kay, can you share with us?
I didn't get a speaker today. So yes, Member Davis, the appropriate way to, I think the appropriate step forward is to make a motion to include something on the next agenda. I will remind you that the chair has the authority to establish an agenda, but that the board can, by majority vote, direct him to place something there. I believe your operating rules encourage you to work through the chair first, but if you're unsuccessful, then you can appeal to the board. To my knowledge, there has not been a declination on the part of the chair, and I'm not fully informed on this, to place this on a future agenda. And so that's your step forward, okay? And I'll do some more research. If I have another step forward for you, I'll come back and tell you.
Thank you. I don't actually intend to make that motion because I have had conversations with the chair. But in transparency for the folks that are asking, kind of want them to have some comfort to know that their work isn't going down the drain. And so rather than to have that motion and that I wanted to kind of have a discussion about what's next so that we have these folks that have been involved for years, knowing that we still value all this work that they've done.
Thank you, Member Davis. Would you be okay having that discussion at the last agenda item when we go around the circle?
Yes.
Within the bounds of Open Meetings Act, obviously.
Yes.
Thank you, and thank you for the discussions we've been having. Dr. Belmetero.
Thank you for this information. I teach English and film, and I must admit that I am not familiar with the term declination. Will the parliamentarian please explain to me what that means? There aren't that many words that I don't know what they mean.
Thank you very much, Dr. Belmetero, and the chair has not, to my knowledge, declined to put something on a future agenda.
Okay, so it's a noun for the act of declining. Thank you. That's encouraging. I studied Native American literature when I was in college in 1967. And I said, why didn't we ever learn this in history? And it has taken many years to find that maybe we will in Texas, I hope. Thank you.
Got it. I'm with it. At this time, we'll go around the circle. I'd like to start this way. We'll come around and members take time to talk about things going on in your district or other concerns or activities.
I'm excited to share that I have been invited to help co-facilitate a session during South by. This year on March 8th, I will be co-facilitating a panel discussion with Dr. Oyan Poon, who was incredibly instrumental in helping to write up the Asian American Studies course that is being piloted in Round Rock right now. And so she's coming in from Chicago, and we'll be doing that together. So I'm really excited about talking about the work that we've done here on ethnic studies courses in Texas, and really being pioneers in that work. And since I'm on the topic, just want to again reiterate the importance of moving forward with ethnic studies courses. We know our communities want them. We heard from individuals this morning, and so I would kindly ask for the continued support of this body to see through the commitment we've made, and we've started doing really good work on that. So thank you.
Member Davis.
All right, first I want to say to everyone who went to the CTSO dinner last night, I just really want to brag. The food was prepared by Jackson Glee Academy, which is Irving ISD, District 13. So just wanted to brag on the students. The food was amazing yesterday, and had a good time connecting with all those student organizations like I do every year. That's one of my favorite things to do every year. But just, again, wanted to thank the folks who came and talked about Native studies. Some of the folks have been coming for years now, so really been building relationships and getting to know them, and have had discussions. Want to just publicly talk about how we've had discussions about moving forward. There isn't a clear intent to kill the course at all. Just make sure we're fully prepared to offer an amazing course where we focus on the standards and nothing else. So really excited to work closely with you, Chair, and to my members who have come and stepped up and talked about how they really want to see this course move forward into first reading so that it's available to school districts all across Texas. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for being so sweet to Grand Prairie ISD and the people who have been coming, and when they were sad and disappointed, thank you so much for just being a light. Even though today was hard for them and for all of us, they all left feeling good. And that's a good thing to do, because this wasn't easy at all. So, Chair, I do look forward to our conversation that we'll have, looking at those standards together and talking about how we can move forward with the course.
Thank you, Member Davis. And yeah, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to you for the dialogue that we have had. Yesterday, we were able to meet on this topic along with a couple other members, and so I could explain kind of how things had gotten to where they had gotten. And really, it's about me learning more and how we're going to have a path forward on doing that really over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks, and look for a path forward. So, you know, oftentimes in my year on the board, I've seen things go in a different direction where interpersonal relationships don't necessarily help us. My goal as chair is to help us work together as a team. And I'm very thankful for y'all's willingness to sit down and have a conversation and find a path forward for the whole board and for the betterment of the state. So I appreciate your leadership role in that, Member Davis, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.